Ayy, look, yeah, ayy. I'm in the lab like Dexter, brand new batch he tested. I'm with all the extras, don't try and bitch, I'm pressure. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers.
But let's go ahead and move on to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I specifically wanted to talk about these guys today because these guys are about to make the play-in tournament. Right now, sitting at the 10th seed with a record of 38-40. They're ahead of the Dallas Mavericks, who they have 2 games on. And their record is 37-41, and we've already highlighted how bad their season is going. But the Oklahoma City Thunder have been in this rebuild for a couple of years now. But a couple of years ago during the bubble, they made the playoffs with Chris Paul. They ended up moving him, but then they ended up tanking again. But now they have all these assets. They have all these first-round picks for these next couple of years. But the one thing that I've always had a little bit of concern about is with Shai and his play this entire season. During the beginning of the year, I was questionable about him, whether or not he was going to be able to sustain this level of play. But he's proven me wrong. He's averaging about 30-plus points a game, and obviously he is the engine for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the question that I have is, with Shai, the question I have today is, with Shai being so good now, does this speed up the timeline for this rebuild that the Oklahoma City Thunder are going on right now?
I don't think anything can speed up Sam Presti at all. But this is perfect for them because Shai is essentially entering his prime in terms of his play. I mean, I think he's 24 years old. He's entering the best season of his career. He just came up. He's going to be coming off averaging 30-plus points on 50% from the field. And so when we think about this team, they're going to be getting their number 2 overall pick next season. And they're a play-in team right now. So, you have Shai right there. You have Giddey. You have Jalen Williams. And you're going to be getting Chet Holmgren, your number 2 overall pick next season.
Don't forget the 100 picks they have like the next 3 years.
That's what I was about to get to right now. Now they have a huge amount of assets in terms of their picks. They can go a multitude of ways. They can, one, go back into the draft, but they won't be drafting top 10. I think they're going to be drafting at least top 14, somewhere around that range. But either way, they can go into this draft, get a player, or because of the assets that they have, they can trade up in this draft. They can move up in this draft, or they can even go another way. They can go for free agency, or they can even trade for players. So they have a multitude of ways. I don't think this speeds up the timeline because think about these last 2 seasons they've spent rebuilding, but at the same time they've also been spending time implementing their play style. I mean, last season, second half of the season, they played incredible. They're playing good basketball. What matters to these tanking teams is there's a huge difference between the Houston Rockets and the team like OKC. OKC, they're actually building towards something in terms of what they have with their coaching staff and their picks and everything versus Houston where they're just doing anything over there. They're playing AU basketball over there. OKC actually has a timeline on what they want to do and what they expect they're going to be happening. So that with Shai taking a leap this season and possibly being even better next season, you have Giddey taking a leap, you have J-Dub taking a leap next season, and you have Chet come back next year. I think this team by next season they can push for a top 6 seed at least. They had a chance early on this season to secure that top 6 seed. It fell out for them. But if this team uses any of their assets to go for a free agent, they trade for a star player, or they even trade up in this draft, it's just going to be even more scarier for other teams to compete against OKC. So I feel like their timeline is right where it needs to be.
I 100% agree. I feel like the timeline is on the perfect pace, especially with this year, how Shai, just blossomed into the superstar he is, averaging almost 30 points a game, the way the other players been playing on the team, and they're missing their number 2 pick. So for them next year, already at the hedge right now, what they're sitting at 7th, 8th right now, or 9th?
They're at 10th. But
10th?
But the Mavs, I don't know what the status is of the Hawks game, but
I know
they have one less win.
They're playing the Suns right now. I don't know the update about that game.
Yeah, but I was talking about the Mavs. The Mavs are one game behind them. Yeah, they're one game behind them, and OKC has a full tiebreaker on them. So OKC literally just has to win. They have to go 2-2, and the Mavs have to go 4-0 for OKC to get knocked out of the playoffs. So how likely is that?
Yeah. So for me, I feel like the timeline is perfect, and like I'd be said with the 100 picks they have, they can the money they can have to splurge on free agents or make trade acquisitions. It can go a long way. They can speed up the process this upcoming summer. They can hopefully guy like Jalen Brown maybe want to be like oh, if I want to leave Boston, I can see OKC right here. that might be a team he wants to look at. There's other players they can, get after in free agency or trade acquisitions that can jump him up to a top 5, top 6 seed in the West. And right now it's looking beautiful. Sam Presti, he's done a phenomenal job for them with the 100 picks they got coming up. With last year picking what's his face? I forgot his name again.
Jalen Williams.
Not Jalen Williams.
The other Jalen Williams, Chet.
Not the other Chet. There you go. Them drafting Chet, he can fit right perfect in that team. I feel like it's perfect for them. They're down in the perfect spot. That they're a young upcoming team, and we rarely see teams like this go through this type of process and actually start winning. And they're one of the teams to do it. So I kind of like what they're doing, and I do want to see the future for them.
They have 7. They have 7 picks in this draft.
7.
Two first rounders and 4 second rounders, and then next draft they have 5 first round picks in 2024.
Hey, see, to me that's Sam Presti. He slow roll. He's not gonna rush it. He's not gonna try.
This is actually just hilarious. 2025 they have 4 first round. This is crazy.
Wow, and to me, yeah, it's perfect. And it's like OKC is one of those teams, and I feel like Utah is one of those other teams that are on the doing the same, coming up young with a lot of draft picks, having a lot of young stars like Lauri Markkanen leading the team.
That's what I'm talking about. Like with the same new Utah, they have Lauri Markkanen as their player. And they have a bunch of promising young players. Walker Kessler, Budgie. They have Colin Sexton. They have THT. They have a bunch of these players that fit around their system, and they have a huge amount of draft picks. So they're just why not just keep building like this?
Keep on building. And they're a young team. They don't gotta hey, we have to go get a 30-year-old superstar and try to win a championship immediately. They got time, same as OKC. So I like the way OKC is doing it. And I do see a great future for them.
My only problem with this entire Oklahoma City Thunder rebuild is because, of course, you guys highlight everything. They have the Utah Jazz and then the Oklahoma City Thunder having their cornerstone piece in Shai and Lauri Markkanen. My issue with the Thunder is obviously Shai has taken a huge leap this year, and he's 24 years old. A couple of years from now, if the Oklahoma City Thunder aren't necessarily competing for an NBA championship,
that's an issue.
What's gonna stop Shai from wanting to leave and go to a bigger franchise? Because at the end of the day, we gotta look at it like this: Oklahoma City is not like a city like New York. It's not a city like Miami or LA or the Bay Area where they're gonna be able to draw the best talent. All the superstars are gonna want to go to their spot and go to their city. That's just not gonna happen for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So the thing is that their margin for error is so little because of that. And right now, with Shai being the player that he is, I'm not too entirely sure the Oklahoma City Thunder were ready for this, but what helps them is obviously a lot of these other draft picks that they're getting, like Josh Giddey and Jalen Williams, and even the other Jalen Williams that they drafted. They're playing a tremendous role, and they're playing great in their respective roles. So I think that's what helps them a lot. So my only fear about this whole Oklahoma City Thunder rebuild is of course Shai's going to keep on getting better and better, but at the end of the day, you're going to have a conversation with your franchise superstar, your franchise guy, and be like, and he's going to have a question like, what are you guys doing to help, this rebuild? What are you guys doing to help this team win an NBA championship or go in that direction of winning an NBA championship? Because obviously they had Chris Paul a couple years ago, and he was able to, engine that team to go to the playoffs, and they still lost in the first round. But obviously they traded him, then they go back into a full rebuild, and now they're kind of in a competitive rebuild. So that's where my issue lies. But I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing everything right. And obviously with all the assets in the world, I feel like, they can, like you guys mentioned, they can make a move to move up in the draft. They can make a move for not a perennial superstar, but, obviously a guy that's kind of on the edge, like a fringe guy. So they have the Oklahoma City Thunder having they have the opportunity to make a move for, maybe, a guy like Fred VanVleet or somebody that can complement Shai's game and complement Giddey's game. And also, if they're able to continue their draft success, which they've been doing pretty well these last couple of years, I feel like the sky's the limit for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Because I feel like when I look at rebuilds across the league, I think these guys got the best project in all of basketball so far. Then, of course, you have the Utah Jazz. Because I look at teams like Orlando, I look at teams like Houston, I look at teams like Detroit.
I think Orlando
Orlando's not bad either. Orlando got a nice little thing going on.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of what Orlando's cooking up right now because their recent draft success, they're the recent draft picks. Other than Paulo,
they finally hit on Paulo.
What you mean? You gonna disrespect Franz like that? Crazy.
Franz is nice.
Franz is nice.
It's kind of like a 2-man game between him and Franz.
Because think about it though, they start off the season 5-20 or 4-20 because of injuries and everything, and and especially since December, they've been like 27-23. So they've been pretty damn good in the second half of the season for a team of their caliber. So I like their project going on.
Did they started 5-20?
4-20 or 5-20, something like that. Yeah,
It's been 29-24 since then.
yeah.
So I think they won today, so they 34-44.
Yeah.
They're working with something, but not compared to OKC and Utah. I'm pretty sure they don't have the draft capital that the guys have. So, yeah. I mean,
the thing is, I respect Detroit's project more than I do Orlando. That's kind of where I kind of stand with it. But obviously, Detroit's been playing terrible because Cade Cunningham hasn't been available for them this entire season. But then you look at the Western Conference, you look at teams like San Antonio, you look at teams like Houston. Houston, you've already spoken about. Those guys play AAU type basketball. Like those guys go. It's just they put 5 guys out there to start the game, and those guys just ball hog and play their style of game. Isolation every single play down the court. San Antonio, I'm a little bit confused. I kind of normally get Greg Popovich's idea and where he's headed, but it looks like they might just have to go in a different direction without him. And they might have to move on from him as a head coach and might move in a different direction as a whole. And that might look a little different and they might struggle a lot, but sometimes you just have to do what needs to be done. I feel like that's one of the things that needs to be done. Charlotte, a team that I thought would be at least in contention for the play-in tournament.
I like how they've been playing since the All-Star break, at least.
Yeah, they've been playing nice since All-Star break. PJ Washington been hooping, but
I feel like
I'm gonna say this though. LaMelo's coming to LA in like 2 years.
Adam Silver, bro. If you care about this, bro, if Adam Silver puts Wemby in Charlotte, but something is cooking over there.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Something is cooking over there. Adam Silver has to care about his best asset. That's his future.
Throw Wemby on the Detroit Pistons, bro. Him and Cade Cunningham gonna cook something.
No, it's not gonna be as interesting as it would be if it was him and LaMelo though.
Nah, LaMelo's coming to LA, bro. It's done deal already. I already signed the contract for him.
Yeah, Lakers. Less Laker fan of you talking, man. But yeah, the Charlotte Hornets, man. I think obviously they've been playing pretty well as of late, but at the same time, you have a guy like LaMelo Ball, but you're not necessarily putting around the talent. You're not putting the talent around him to be a successful team.
Yeah, I think Jordan has a big part to play with that. As owning the team, being a general manager and everything. I feel like he don't care about basketball like that anymore, and that's why he's try to sell the team and everything. So
he's terrible at his job. Hell of a player, obviously.
Goddamn, hell of a player, bro. But
he cannot
owning a team and managing a team.
It's two different things, and he's terrible at the second part. He cannot manage the Charlotte Hornets team. Kemba Walker was a good pick for him, but you look at guys like Cody Zeller and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, like those guys you don't even necessarily hear about them. I mean, you hear about Cody. I
know he drafted Bismack Biyombo early too, so guys like that.
It just doesn't make any sense. But I do like where the Oklahoma City Thunder are headed, and I'm hoping they do right by Shai. Shai's a hell of a talent. Sitting at being 24 years old and being one of the top scorers in our league. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they know they have to surround him with all the talent in the world. Do I personally believe it's going to be Chet, a guy?
Oh my God, man! Chet is going to
take him over the top.
Chet is going to be so special, man. There's so many games I've watched this year where I'm just like, man, if Chet was here, things would be different. Things would be different.
I can't wait for the day AD season. And just puts him on his ass.
I'm not too entirely sure. I'm not too entirely sure if Chet's going to be like the missing piece. But he's going to be a key piece, he's going to be.
I feel like the way OKC plays, though, I feel like they do need that type of player to stretch the floor, especially on the defensive side of the ball. The guy's standing 7'1". He's very, very lengthy. He could play off-ball defense. They're
gonna use him as a help side. I think OKC's plan is, at least maybe coming to next season, is they realize it. Like they need a center, like an anchor type of center. They need an anchor type of center where it's like he takes like the force, like someone like if they had someone like. Not specifically PJ Tucker, but like what PJ Tucker is. He's gonna take the brute force of players, like someone that's like 6'9", 6'10". Like there's a guy in the draft, Jarris Walker. Like even someone with like Bam's mold. Like they need like a guy that's gonna take the brute force and Chet. It's the same way Jaren Jackson isn't gonna be guarding centers, right? But Steven Adams is gonna be the anchor. Jaren Jackson's just gonna be the help side kind of guy. That's what OKC is looking for, because OKC play a 5-out type of style. Jalen Williams right now, the other one, is their center, but he's like 6'9". He's not really an anchor defensive.
I can't pronounce the guy's name. What was his name? Povalevsky or something like that.
Pokusevsky.
Yeah, was he in the
Olszewski.
starting center before he got hurt?
Yeah, but and he was a good rim protector and everything, but like they need like an anchor defensively. That's what they need. So Chet next year he's gonna be an elite rim side, help side rim protector, but you know they're gonna need like someone to like hold down like the fort, in terms of like force against these centers. So we're gonna wait and see.
Yeah, I think what helps Chet is his ability to space the floor. Obviously, he
Yeah.
can shoot the ball, so I think him being at the 4 position, if they're able to get a quality big that could be their their anchor down there, I think that could be a huge help for this team. But you guys mentioned the Dallas Mavericks need to go 4-0 in order for them to.
So if OKC, so these are like the scenarios. If OKC go like 3-1, it's basically over for the Mavs. If OKC go 2-2, the Mavs have to go like 4-0. If OKC go like 1-3 or 1-4, then the Mavs they just have to go like they have to win like three. They have to go with like 3-1. So like there's like certain scenarios that they have to basically do for OKC to get knocked out.
Yeah, I say that because it's not a good start for the Dallas Mavericks as they're losing right now to the Atlanta Hawks 113-109. So I mean, at least Kyrie's doing well, but
Nah,
obviously,
I mean, if they get knocked out, man, we're gonna talk about this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna point fingers, at Luka or Kyrie. I just feel like Mark Cuban kind of messed up this team. I feel like he kind of gambled on like, hey, I want this, and just let everything go. You lose Brunson, you lose all these guys, you lose all your wing defenders, you lose all your shooters, and all you have is just Kyrie and Luka. We know both those guys do not play single ounce of defense. So I feel like I'm not gonna point fingers at Kyrie. I'm not gonna point fingers at Luka, but Mark Cuban's gonna have a lot to be blamed for.
yeah, I see. We think the same. We think the exact same, but at the end of the day, this is
But
Kyrie Irving we're talking about here.
you know how
this
media
guy,
is.
this guy's the headline of all headlines when it comes to the NBA and the basketball world. So these guys are unable to make the at least the play-in tournament, and forget the playoffs, just the play-in tournament. There's gonna be a discussion that needs to be held, and I think we're gonna hold it here.
Record a new hit, then we making us a film. Wouldn't sign a deal if I got a couple mil. Been in the lab, now they throwing out deals. Me and now H, now that's overkill.